Hi, trendsetters, wherever you are in the world. Dr. Lena Rodriguez coming to you from tomorrow. So here we go. We're right on the brink of the anniversary of January 6th. So I've already read on the day itself. I don't think there'll be anything more than sporadic, odd, typical American low-key violence, let's say, but I don't think there'll be anything major. So I want to read on hearts and minds, who'll sort of win that, given that the Yeti is going to do his talk to the nation. So I'm going to have Biden on the left and the Yeti on the right. So what will the tone be? We know what the Yeti will say. Election was stolen, and all the same stuff because he has nothing else to say. So what will Biden actually talk about? Will there be any cut through with this? Will people even tune in? How's it going to be from the two perspectives? So let's have a look now. Let's have a look. Coming down. Here we go. Okay. Now, Biden first. So to be expected, he's such a fundamentally decent human being. He's going to speak about sensible things, to have a projection and a vision of bringing the country together, and at this point in time, trying to keep people calm, I think, will be his primary role. But depending who writes the speech, it will take on a particular flavour or not. But I think this speaks well for the opening card, and hopefully there'll even be something that young people can identify with. I hope he doesn't underestimate that. So I think he's going to speak to women. This is the High Priestess. Whether directly or not, I think more women understand and get Biden's agenda, unless they're out and out, dyed in the wool, strapped to the mast, MAGA candidates. They will get it. But there'll be a bit of a hidden agenda going on here. So he might try and slip some things in. We'll see what happens with that. He will explain to the nation that it is embattled at this point, but the way forward is to be inclusive, like the Queen of Wands. So she also doesn't like nonsense. She's not a soft person here. She is the one who provides the rudder for the ship. This could be Jill Biden, or it could be symbolically broader. But he will explain how this tension and animosity and separation of Americans from each other is really the biggest challenge. Now, on the other side of the fence, we have the Yeti. First card he gets is the death card. Now, that could mean a million things. I'm quick to say I don't think it's a portent. I don't think he's going to drop dead on stage or anything that dramatic. Oh, who said that? No, I don't think that's going to happen. But it's the same old, right? And I think people are getting a bit sick of it. He's going to do, predictably, the complete opposite, which is gee people up. They're your enemy and go for them and take their heads off, and all that crude, awful, simplistic stuff. However, this is a turning point for him. This is a turning point for him to test his strength, right, with the voters. So it'll be very interesting how many actually tune in or tune out. He's scheduled at the same time as the national prayer. How symbolic. But for him, this is going to be a turning point. So in other words, if he gets a massive groundswell of support and response and, yeah, you're our guy, you're our Yeti, right? He will take strength from that. If, on the other hand, people are going, yawn, his biggest enemy is actually not people falling out with him ideologically. It's getting bored with him. That's the biggest risk he runs. Then he'll be left only with his baser instincts to work with. Right. So no great revelations there, you'd have to say. So let's just hope the committee powers on. Tara Whimsy did a very good video very recently, if you look at her uploads, on the DOJ. And I actually had much more sympathy for Merrick Garland after that, realising what huge cases they have on board. So you can check out Tara Whimsy for that. In the meantime, the subpoenas have arrived for Trump, for Don Jr. and for Ivanka in New York. Now, will the Yeti appear? He's scheduled on the 7th of January. Will he appear? You could bet the house. No, of course he won't. Never does. Okay, so what I want to know, really know, is does Letitia James have a plan B? Because she's going to need it to get any of them to the table. Bar Eric. Eric has already given his deposition. That slipped under the radar. I wonder what he said. Could have a look at that in a minute if I remember. Okay, in the meantime, so what's Letitia James going to do about these subpoenas when they don't turn up? Oh, what fell out? Loss. I'll leave that on the table. Letitia James, plan B. Will they be made to testify? Let's have a look. Oh, it's getting windy up here. It's supposed to be summer, but it's not very warm. Oh, really? These people? It's so aggravating. So, first up is, I think this is Letitia James' disappointment. Not that she would have expected anything else, but I think she can't help but be a little disappointed, as indeed we all are. You know, we want to see them go. But remember always with the 5 of Cups, 3 cups are down. They're the ones she's aiming for. And 2 cups are up, one being Eric and one might be, what was the name of the guy under Weisberg? I think it was Calamari or something. So she's got 2 in the bag to go on with, but the 3 are down. No, they're not going to appear. That's going to lead to all sorts of circular arguments. They're going to fight it all the way. At what point do you get called a litigious rat bag, as we would say in Australia? You know, at what point do people stop taking on your court cases because they're frivolous? You know, this must be his 1000th case along these lines. But according to these cards, that's still going to go on. They're going to fight and fight and fight and fight and fight and fight. But in the end, she will prevail. She will prevail. She has the sun, righteousness, and truth on her side, apart from the role she actually inhabits. Right? So plan B for Letitia James, be prepared for non-appearance, non-appearance, non-appearance going through the courts yet again. However, because the Yeti and all the baby criminal Yetis, his offspring, because they have stupid cases, and because they don't pay the bills, what does happen to that money, right? They're getting worse and worse lawyers. So if you look at the trajectory of these cases that challenge everything, the judges are now taking one look at them and going, are you mad? Why are you wasting my time? So they can't even draft a decent legal document. It's scandalous. So Letitia James went on television the other night and did get up to say that it's the same law for everyone. Everyone is equal before the law. Now, that might be reassuring, but I've never found it reassuring because I've never found it to be true. Long before the Yeti, ultra wealthy, powerful people who go to jail, you could count on one hand, no matter what their crimes, whether they're personal or white collar crimes. Very rarely. There's the odd Bernie Madoff or whatever his name was with the Ponzi scheme. Remember him? He got a big jail sentence. And like every 10 or 15 years, they give one of them a big jail sentence and let the other 10,000 go, you know. So I'm not convinced. And I'm beginning to think maybe that it's the universe pointing out to us, because most countries say the same thing. Oh, everyone's equal before the law, you know, oh, no one's spared before the law. It's simply not true. Okay, so the other big thing that is coming up, I think, with MAGA turning on him over the vax, an anti-vax scenario, will there be a vacuum and who is likely to fill it? So will someone come up that MAGA world embraces? Even more than Trump. Let's ask, will there be, will there be someone else who comes through who will actually genuinely be a threat to the Yeti? Heaven forbid, you don't need another one. Is there someone in the wings? Let's have a look. Oh, there could be. There could be. We have quite big cards here. The primary card is the Magician. So this is someone who could pull the wool over their eyes in a brand new way. How to be shafted by a brand new person. Yeah, we want this guy, right? You know. Now, with the Magician, like all the major arcana, there's a base level of the card all the way to its highest, most spectacular meaning, right? So there's a spectrum. Because of the people we're dealing with, this is on the lower spectrum. So it's like sleight of hand magic, not big transformational power that the Magician is capable of. This is more sleight of hand. The person will be significantly younger. I presume that means younger than the Yeti. Okay, but won't have a clue. There's a naivety always to the fool, but it is a new beginning. We have a young person talking here in quite a convincing manner and is quite forceful. They get an ace. So if you'd asked me a month ago, I would have gone, nah, no way. Now I think they might be lining up, particularly if it doesn't go well for him on this January the 7th. Now, on the 6th, sorry. Now, things are happening so fast. Devin Nunes has resigned from Congress in order to head up the Yeti's new tech firm. They're going to take on Techland and Media Land. Imagine, these guys are so inept. It's just breathtaking. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at how Devin Nunes and the new tech platform is going to go. Will MAGA swarm over there in vast numbers? See, now Alex Jones and these others have turned against him too. He's losing his day-to-day access to people. Okay. What's going to happen? In the meantime, of course, Peter Navarro has produced his new book, basically outlining the coup and his role in it. They're such narcissists, they're such psychopaths that they do it. He's laid out an entire court case against himself and about half a dozen others. But back to the truly awful Devin Nunes. Trump's new platform. Oh, this is funny. This is actually really funny. Okay, I hope you find it amusing. So, for some reason, I think COVID is impacting this. This is the hermit doing things in the dark. When it's a positive card, it's higher learning, lighting the path, and so on. But it's also, for the last 2 years, been my COVID card. So I'm going to say, for some reason, COVID's going to present it with some problems because it's going to be held up. Don't quite understand how, but there we go. And they're going to shout from the rooftops, you know, how wonderful the Yeti is, what a marvelous human being, what he's done for the world. But of course, they are messengers in and of themselves of the false knight. Okay, so I don't think we're even going to see it take off when it's supposed to take off. We'll see. Could be a problem with funding, but I didn't get any Pentacles cards here. So donors could pull out. We will see, but I feel fairly confident in saying it's going to be held up and possibly held up and held up and held up. Okay, now readers' questions. I've been asked because of the endless, oh look, if it sounds like two bisons having sex, it's not, it's the two dogs. It's school holidays, so we've got two grand dogs. Okay, now, shush you guys. I'm always being asked in the comments about other men and the Epstein case. But in this case, it's Will Smith. Now, everyone grew up loving Will Smith, but has he got something to answer for in regard to Epstein? Will Smith and Epstein. Will Smith and Epstein. Let's have a look. What was their relationship like? Oh, these same cards keep coming up to them. Wow. It's not looking good for Will Smith. I wasn't that worried going into the reading. You know, I was thinking, look, hundreds and hundreds of men would have gone on the private jet and gone off to do things, and some of them would have taken their wives and girlfriends even, and plenty of people would have gone and had holidays without any sexual component. And I was sincerely hoping he was in that camp, but he's worried. Anyways, he gets the card of loss. That could be loss of respect of people. Or now, before I go any further, this is just a tarot reading. I don't want people to think the worst of Will Smith unless something legally is brought into the picture. I'm just simply reporting what the cards are saying. So he has the Eight of Wands walking, Eight of Cups walking away. the loss, the war card. He has the King of Wands, which is where I think he was at the base of this reading. This, I think, represents his reputation as one of the nice guys of Hollywood, etc., etc. But his outcome is the Tower. Oh, so I'm sorry to be the harbinger of that. So let's just finish on something a little lighter. There's been a win in Michigan over the redistricting, which is good. There have to be these fights about redistricting. And I wanted to tell you, there was a very good committee. I saw the spokeswoman, and it's called the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, and they look into every district that's up for grabs, and they mount legal challenges and stuff and do the hard yards. So if you want an organisation to support, either through donations, they sound good, but look into them more, or you may even be able to volunteer time or a skill or something. I'm a great believer in volunteering. Educate and activate. Yeah. So I'm going to leave you with that. And lots of love from Australia. And I'm sorry it took me so long this week to get back to you. So bye for now.